change the world. Oh, all right. This was the trivia. This player has scored 33 points in the fourth quarter over his last 3 games and made 8 of 11 threes with 5 assists and no turnovers. Jalen, who is it? We both have the same one, and I feel like we might get it right.
And the answer is?
We guessed Rozier. The answer is? Yes! The first time I play, I'm just going to start doing this.
How about that, Himbo? We own you.
That's right. 3 of 11 over the first 3 quarters of the game and then turns it on.
But I must say this. Out of all of the players left in the playoffs, for us to write down the same player,
that kind of creepy.
That means we're paying attention.
Let me ask you this, Jalen. He's got 14 three-pointers in the fourth quarter overtime in this postseason. What is it about him that he can turn things up down the stretch?
He's strong. He can dribble, pass, and shoot. He's fearless. And Brad Stevens continues to open up the floor and give this young man confidence. People forget, he's subbing in for Kyrie Irving, an all-NBA performer. And now a hot take is going to be, maybe the Celtics should trade Kyrie and sign Rozier. He's playing that well. Of course, I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form. But I'm just saying, this guy is the difference maker in the backcourt, which is why they're able to continue to win the way they have.
I think the fact that we got that right at the same time is amazing, and I'm not going to stop patting ourselves on the back. Also, anytime there's a crunch time or a moment last night or it felt like, oh, things are getting a little out of hand, Terry Rozier, that's the face that continues to pop up. Besides, why would you trade Kyrie? Why not have the best of the best anywhere you could keep it?
And again, that's why it fascinated me when I started watching both of these teams ascend, because I feel like Philly and Boston are the future of the East, other than whatever LeBron James decides to do or whoever decides to play with him. Because I know the headline is going to be what's happening in Philly. They have 2 iconic franchise-changing players in Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. But I'm like, the story is happening in Boston.
Yeah.
Danny Ainge, Brad Stevens. They're
Injuries.
doing this without Kyrie. They're doing this without Hayward. Developing Tatum, developing Brown, developing Rozier. And we always leave out Al Horford, who continues to have his way on the defensive end, playing well against Embiid, and offensively he's been really
I feel like we're done leaving him out now, right?
You've been saying this for so long now. I'm starting to get the impression, and you're proving to be right, that you might actually know something about basketball. I wasn't convinced of that when we started this thing, but obviously you're 100% right. And look, at this point, what don't the Celtics have? If you sort of spin this thing forward, if they get back the 2 guys who were supposed to be their 2 best players when the season began, and they're doing all of this without them, and right now they feel very much halfway, well, they are officially halfway to the conference final, and they feel in total control of this series. What is it they're missing? It's not clear to me that there's anything that a great team has that they don't have on their roster.
The thing that the Celtics currently don't have that's going to keep them from winning the East is just Kyrie and Hayward.
That's what I mean.
If those guys were healthy, I would look at them and say, maybe they can play against the Warriors.
Next year will be interesting.
Yes.
So you mentioned 2 of the generational players over on the other side. On Philly, and it's Ben Simmons, who failed to score a field goal for the first time in his 87-game career, held to 1 point in 31 minutes during Game 2 loss last night in Boston. He said after the game that he was overthinking. 1 point, you almost have to try hard to just get the 1 point, Jalen. How are the Celtics managing to shut him down?
How about this? When we talk about trusting the process, it's just that. 4 of the 5 players that start for Philadelphia didn't play in the NCAA tournament, and this is their first time in the NBA playoffs. So this stage is new to them. The Boston Celtics, their core group was here last year. Guys that I didn't even mention, like Marcus Smart, they play a big role. And so for Ben Simmons, a guy like Morris has the athleticism to stay with them because he doesn't shoot with range. Now, when Ben Simmons gets a jump shot, then a guy like Morris won't be able to stay with him. But until then, you can play without fouling, keep them in front of you. They're around the same height. Morris has a level of toughness. And when other guys get on him, like a Marcus Smart or a Jaylen Brown, they get underneath him. They try to crowd his ball handling ability. They crowd his passes. So that's why he's not as effective, because he doesn't have a jump shot.
Yeah, and, you know, it's so easy to make every one of these individual games a referendum on what an entire player career is going to be. He's going to be a great player. He is a terrific player. He's going to be a great player. But you're right. He has a massive hole in his game right now that creates an ability to stop him, and a really good coach like Brad Stevens who has the right pieces to do it. I'm thinking back to when Magic Johnson first came in the league, and that's a guy people are comparing Simmons to. He also didn't have a great jump shot, and he developed enough of one to get get going. Is Simmons weaker than that? Is his jump shot worse than Magic's was when Magic came in?
It's similar, and take it from somebody that followed Magic Johnson's every move when I was playing in the house on a hanger on the top of a door. In the early 80s when they played against Philly and they lost in the championship, Magic Johnson made 1 3-pointer the entire season.
Oof.
Okay? And as his career evolved, he developed into a better mid-range shooter, a better jump shooter, a set shot. Then he developed a baby sky hook. So that's what's going to happen with Ben Simmons. He's going to gain confidence because he's going to gain signature shots like we see with LeBron James, who has an unstoppable one at this point.
Well, the Rookie of the Year hot takes today are going to be fire.
Yes.
Like, as the kids say, of course. There's another subplot to the whole thing that came out of this was the fact that Philly blew a lead, a huge lead. It was 22 points in the first half. Celtics relied heavily on that young core led by Jason Tatum, who led the way with 21 points to rally back, and they took that 2-0 series lead. A 22-point lead in a game on the road in which you all but had this thing, that's a tough blow. How do you handle that going back?
Absolutely. You tell your team they took care of business because they have home court advantage. This is our first time here, guys. We've never been in the second round of the playoffs. Ben is never going to play as bad as he did these 2 games. We're going to get our shooters to get going. They're going to embody what they did well at the beginning of the game and try to feed off of their crowd once they get home and see if they can get off to a good start and maintain the momentum.
Now, all the Celtics have done is hold serve, and yet somehow it feels like a lot more than that, the way these 2 games have played out. We'll wait and see. And obviously, at this point, Ben Simmons, you're interesting on your Rookie of the Year. He hasn't been the best rookie in this series so far. I mean, right at this point, Jason Tatum is the Rookie of the series, and we'll see if that continues. SportsCenter coming up tonight after Rockets and Jazz. Again, these 2 are going to be busy. They'll be here doing NBA coverage, and then Scott Van Pelt will be along after the game with a complete wrap-up of that and Warriors-Pelicans, plus live look-ins from Safeco Field, where Albert Pujols is 1 hit away from 3,000 hits. That's SportsCenter, 1 a.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Still to come, Jason Witten out of the game. So how does his retirement change the Cowboys' offensive attack? And Maddie's got more ice. We'll tell you why the Falcons decided now was the time to pay their quarterback. Plus, does Kareem's skyhook and MJ's fadeaway suddenly have company? We'll go inside the next unstoppable shot in the NBA.
All right.